Welcome to the Bayhill class of 2020 graduation, one like no other. You are the only class that can say Bayhill came to you for graduation, wherever you were. This is not what you envisioned for your senior year. It is not what you wanted. Yet you faced the reality, finished your senior year online with fun Fridays and a faculty who cared deeply about you. You learned about your resilience, determination, and strength. You had an individual graduation at home, received your well-deserved diploma in a gift bag, and listened to speeches about your accomplishments from a 6-foot distance. We gave you virtual hugs and handshakes, watched you smile, laugh, and cry in your cap and gown. Oprah Winfrey said at the virtual graduation, quote, "Even though there may not be pomp because of our circumstances, never has a graduating class been called to step into the future with more purpose, vision, passion, hope, and energy," unquote. I am proud of each of you. Remember, graduates, you will always be a member of the Bayhill family. We are here for you in person and virtually. We will have your back, support you during your challenges, and applaud your accomplishments. Be strong enough to use your voice, brave enough to listen to your heart, and follow your dream. Congratulations, class of 2020. You got this.
Hello, teachers, administrators, friends, parents, and most importantly, hello, graduating class of 2020. We finally made it. This is where I'm supposed to thank you all for coming today and celebrating this special occasion with us, but in light of the quarantine and the lockdown, the most I can say is thank you for logging on today. Academics is a long and scary word, and to succeed in academics is even scarier because it secures our futures in this day and age. And for those of us with learning differences, academic pressure can be pretty overwhelming. But Bayhill's taught me a pretty important lesson, and that's that I am not defined by my grades or my ability to complete a task without asking for help. I have learned to lean into the support offered to me by my peers and my teachers, and I've also learned that the creativity and kindness and industriousness that each of us Bayhill kids has is the most important thing, and that it's what makes us who we are, and it's not our grades. In light of this lesson learned, I'd like to start my more earnest thank yous. All right, first and foremost, I would like to thank teachers and staff who taught and encouraged and pushed us to succeed through IEPs and 5-day late assignments and often our own active opposition. To teachers like Miss O'Brien, Miss Whitwell, and Dr. Rasmussen, who have made learning less painful and have given us valuable tools for the future, I'd like to say thank you. And to teachers like Miss Satini, Miss Story, Miss Patel, Miss O'Donnell, Mr. Carbonneau, and Mr. Kreider, who have made learning interesting and engaging, thank you also. To teachers like Mr. Hoops, Mr. Dawson, Coach Randall, and Mr. Bystrom, who have made learning a creative and rejuvenating activity, thank you. And to teachers like Miss Ferreira, Miss Bell, and Mr. Gorley, who has moved on, who have made learning fun, thank you. Thank you to administrators like Miss Kim, Miss LaBelle, Miss Austin, and Dean Trevine for being all-knowing keepers of order that have worked tirelessly to make sure that this school can fulfill its purpose. I would also like to thank Ms. Brown and Ms. Field, who have put in hours of effort to ensure that each of us has a plan, whether it's going to a 2-year college or a 4-year college or to no college at all. I would also like to extend my thanks to Ms. Ludson, Ms. Tyler, Ms. Davis, and Mr. Rose for providing necessary support to us as students so that we can all succeed. Last, but certainly not least, I would like to thank the people that made this school and every experience I had here as incredible as it was. Students, thank you. We have persevered through so much these past 4 years. We have seen classmates come and go. We've braved wildfires and earthquakes and standardized testing, and we've gotten to where we are now today. Right now we're facing a pandemic, which has kept us from seeing each other and learning in an actual physical school building. But in true Bayhill kid fashion, we found a way around it, and we're now preparing for what the next years of our lives will bring us and what they'll look like as we transition into college students and into adults. But I know that however uncertain our futures may be, however unclear they are, I can say with confidence that as Bayhill kids, we'll find a way to get through it and succeed. Bayhill class of 2020, we are truly remarkable, and we have achieved so much as a class. And everything that we've done, everything that we've gone through stands as a testament to our success. So it has been my greatest honor and pleasure to be your classmate these last years. So thank you.
Hello, fellow graduates, faculty, family, and friends of the Bayhill class of 2020. I think we can all agree that this has been quite a year of many lasts and many firsts. Like our last first day of high school, and the first time in 4 years that we were at the top of the school chain. Finally, am I right? It has been a great honor to serve as your student body president. The experiences and life lessons that have come from being involved in student council for the last 3 years have been amazing. Aside from leading spirit weeks, assemblies, and putting on dances, I've had the opportunity to build relationships with our student body and grow as an individual and as a leader. It helped to have an amazing role model like Miss Satini, but your suggestions and advice are what made our senior year what it was. So props to all of you. I couldn't have done it without you and your support. We spent most of our last year like almost any other senior would. We procrastinated over assignments, joked about having senioritis, and tried to cope with the realization that we were finally seniors and going to graduate. We reminisced about our last 4 years at Bayhill. We talked about all of the teachers that we would miss, and even the one that had already left the building. Shout out to Mr. Gorley. Our class has been nothing if not resilient. Through thick and thin, we have been there for each other and stepped up to show the other classes what it really meant to be a senior in the class of 2020. We have had countless struggles and the rug pulled out from under us throughout our last 12 years of schooling, but as a class, we picked each other up, dusted ourselves off, and were always ready for the next hurdle. So when COVID-19 came along, I knew that we were more than ready for the next few months. Who would have thought that our class would be the one to live through history? The ones that had our graduation at our houses. I know, I can't believe it either. Miss Lobel and a whole bunch of other teachers are standing in front of our houses. Talk about awkward. We will forever be known as the class that took no for an answer and used it to our own advantage. We were told no to our prom, our senior trip, and even the graduation that we had all been dreaming about for years. But we adapted to these new circumstances and found some virtual substitutes. Change is scary, but this pandemic just proves how much more ready we all are for the next chapter of our lives, whatever that means. Our last 4 years, and especially senior year, were about so much more than a pandemic, however. Each of us had something that made Bayhill special, like actually liking to play a sport, creating your own club, hanging out with a favorite teacher during lunch, trying to figure out what comes next with Miss Brown, or finally feeling like you fit in. An important memory for me was the band practices and performances at the art show and the winter feast with Destination Unknown. Being in band was the highlight of my high school experience, and having a teacher who went above and beyond to be the best mentor ever is something I'll never forget. We'll take with us the fun times we've had together in class. The school trips, like the sophomore camping trip, where we formed friendships that were harder to form in class. It was the moments during passing periods, even if it was just a head nod to one another in the hallway. That was like our senior handshake. It was the soda price wars between student council and Devon. Oh, and the fashion statements that were made. The creativity our class displayed was extraordinary. It was the jokes that came out of the most unpredictable people. And the time Miss O'Brien let us play Mario Kart because we finished our English final early. Then there was the senior prank that was so epic that it didn't happen because the universe wasn't ready for our cleverness. On the other hand, getting up at 5 a.m. to prank Mr. Hoops was totally worth it. These moments are what made senior year and all of high school so memorable. But these moments wouldn't have happened if it weren't for our family's support, the relationships we built with each other, and the amazing teachers who guided us along the way. I want to give my own personal thank you to Miss Story for making math class actually fun, and Miss Bell for being one of my go-to people for songwriting advice. Our high school experience wouldn't have been this great if it wasn't for teachers like you and all of the others whom we were fortunate to learn from. I would like to finish by saying this to my fellow graduates. We are the class of 2020, the ones who stayed home to save lives. So even if the road looks rough ahead, never forget that we are funny, resilient, caring, and brilliant leaders. So use the fact that we know how to take no for an answer and use it to change the world, because I know that we will. Thank you again for allowing me to serve as your student body president, and congratulations. We did it, and I'm so proud of all of us.
It is true that Angelie guards her voice, but to say she is quiet is misleading. Angelie speaks volumes to those who are able to listen, whether it is her vibrant fashion, her vibrant art, or her academic work. Angelie has a clear sense of identity and a clear point of view.
But my favorite way that Angelie has communicated with me over the years is through her eyes. I could always count on Angelie to acknowledge me when I needed it, whether the class was being bonkers or there was a subtle joke that no one else understood. I could look over at Angelie and feel comforted that she knew what I was trying to do. Her eyes sparkle with knowing.
Her eyes also give away how Angelie has a wickedly wonderful sense of humor. I am forever grateful for the poem she found in which Pluto, the planet, is personified as a sassy woman angry at the scientists who removed her from planetary status because she didn't behave the way they wanted her to, the way they expected her to.
The poem opens, "Today I broke your solar system." Oops, my bad. Your graph said I was supposed to make a nice little loop around the sun. Nah.
I treasure this poem not only because it is great, but it is a poem that I will forever link with Angelie. It is also a poem that proclaims that being yourself is an act of rebellion, which is the message I would leave for Miss Angelie on her graduation day. Darling, continue to know yourself, be yourself, and proclaim yourself in any way you wish, because you are beautiful and sassy and bright and wonderful.
Congratulations. We are so proud of you.
I've had the most difficult time writing this speech, not because I don't have anything to say about Devon, but because I have so many things to say about Devon.
Do I discuss his thoughtful, intelligent, artistic, hilarious, wicked sides?
So yeah, let's go for broke and touch on all of those qualities that make Devin, Devin. Devin is thoughtful. Last year, just for the heck of it, Devin gifted me an Amazon card. He said that he knew that I spent a lot of money on my students in classroom, and then he thought I should have something to offset those expenses. So often, it's the little things that make a difference. And Devin notices and acts on that. Thank you, Devin. Devin is intelligent. I've been teaching for nearly 2 decades. For most of my students, writing has been one of the most difficult academic challenges they face. I actually save Devin's essays for last when I'm reading and grading them because they're such a pleasure to read. They are articulate and insightful. Devin gets it. Devin understands the motivations and machinations of the characters in the novels we read, and he can analyze the work with verve and wit. His writing makes my job seem easy, which is no small feat. Thank you, Devin. Devin is artistic. Goodness, we know this. Devin recently received a full scholarship to the California Art Academy, in no small measure because of Devin's enormous talent with art. His art teacher's right here. Certainly you don't need me to testify. Most days I've been hard-pressed to get the sketch pad out of Devin's hands and have been the recipient of animated projects in English and even a short film in history. Thank you, Devin. Devin is wickedly hilarious. I know that Devin does not embrace politics or the political process, but he would make a great political cartoonist. Why? Because he knows exactly how to find and deflate egocentricity in a cartoonish way. He sees people, he understands their quirks, and he can illustrate it with words and visuals in such an amazing way. Thank you, Devin. When I can't sleep at night, I often sing songs to myself in hopes of falling back to sleep. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm obsessed with the musical Hamilton. Lately, these lyrics, dedicated by Hamilton to his young son, have been reminding me of Devin. Someday, someday, you'll blow us all away. That's today, Devin. Thank you.
Lucy is generous of spirit and of heart. She's funny and kind with her humor. She offers jokes like a much-needed hug.
She's got a smile that is, I swear to God, brighter than the sun. There is no way to be in the same room as Lucy Reardon and not feel good. She radiates something so warm and inviting. To know her truly is to love her. Every morning when I would arrive at Bayhill, out of breath and sweaty from my bike ride, Lucy would find me with that crazy, amazing smile. And no matter what stress I was juggling at that moment, Lucy's care, charm, curiosity, and fashion courage would melt it away. Can we talk for a second about Lucy's style?
This girl wears the fiercest earring combos I've ever seen. Sometimes 2 pizza slices in one ear, sometimes mixed rainbows and flamingos, sometimes multicolored tassels. She likes to wear things that are creative, that express her personality, that generate joy. She's dedicated to the well-being of those around her, and her chic and positive presence is just one of the many ways her efforts make people feel good.
Another example is Lucy's senior research paper. I had the privilege of being Lucy's advisor on that project. And her thesis, "We need more native California plants because they help all Californians thrive," is like her reaching her arms around our entire state and giving it and every living creature inside it a giant hug, offering her super special smile.
No matter where Lucy's future takes her, I know it will be better and brighter for knowing her.
Today, I wanted to tell you, Lucy, that I struggled to write a speech for you. Today. Yes, I said it, I struggled. You see, Lucy, there's a whole process that I go through, and every teacher goes through, during this time at graduation. I'm so relieved to hear Miss O'Brien, Miss Brown, Miss Bell, Miss Whitwell attest to this struggle and the truth of this process. For me, it's a process that involves reflecting on the years that we've shared together, laughing at those joyous moments, acknowledging the not so good and the lessons learned along the way. It is also a time of mourning for me, as I grieve the closing of a chapter and sending you off with a fare thee well.
It was not until this morning when I was texting with Ms. Brown that I realized why writing your speech was such a struggle for me. Lucy Reardon, you embody goodness. You embody goodness. And I don't want to say farewell to goodness. I mean, who does? I can talk about how you are an exceptionally hardworking student who pushes through with consistent efforts and persevered through every single academic task, no matter how daunting it may be, although with a few reminders from Ms. Bell to breathe. Or how you have kept concise notes as our secretary for student council. Or how you are the first to volunteer to serve lunch at our Friday food sales. Or of our very first meeting when Ms. Chris brought you in during a student council meeting to see if you might be interested in being a freshman rep.
All of these wonderful memories and qualities aside, you embody goodness. Through my tears this morning, my husband reminded me that I have to let you go and that the world is waiting for you. In this world of so much hatred and great chaos, may your goodness shine bright and illuminate all those who will be graced by your ray of sunshine. Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, staff and faculty, we are so honored to present to you a true embodiment of goodness from Bayhill's class of 2020, Lucy Reardon.
Thank you, Ms. Satini.
Hi, Lexi. Instead of giving you a traditional graduation speech, I decided to tell a story instead. It's entitled, The Girl Who Said Shut Up. Prologue.
My best friend is a morning DJ for a small Minnesota radio station. It's a rule in her daughter's house that none of her children are allowed to say shut up. It is, after all, a really rude way to tell someone to be quiet, and my friend's daughter is determined to raise kind children. But here's the twist. Every few days, my friend the DJ gets a call on her request line from her grandson to play the song, Shut Up and Dance With Me. Rumor has it that said grandson then sings it at the top of his lungs, maybe at his siblings.
Once upon a time, there was a young woman with long bangs and liquid blue eyes who would barely say boo to a mouse. When I first met her and introduced myself, I had to lean down close to hear her. High school seemed a bewildering challenging to her, and while she made friends and worked hard in the classroom, this young woman was still known as the quiet one. But something interesting happened in her junior year. This young woman found her voice. I would call on her in history class, and even if she didn't know the answer, she would try. She was willing to ask for help, and in doing so, modeled to her peers that it was okay to not know, and that the mere act of asking was a superpower.
Because it is a way of getting your needs met and a way of showing vulnerability, something that is in short supply among high schoolers. This young woman's voice grew when she became a senior. I discovered more about her as she began to open up about who she is, that she loves animals so much that she decided to become a vegetarian with an eye to going vegan when she gets to college. And since no one in her family is also a vegetarian, she learned to cook her own meals.
Classwork and homework got more difficult, and still this young woman tried her best and worked harder than any three of her peers. And something else happened. Lexi, the superhero of this story, not only found her voice in the academic realm, she found it in the social realm as well. We have some pretty rambunctious boys in the senior class. Let's face it, they're noisy and disruptive.
They are masters at trying to get me off the subject and work hard to get their peers off task. But Lexi wasn't having it. So one day she just told these boys, shut up! This caused an existential crisis in me. Do do I punish Lexi for being less than nice? But here's what happened instead. It worked. Lexi, asserting herself and her needs, quieted those guys down. In finding her voice, Lexi also found her authority. Her peers sat up and listened. That was when I knew Lexi was going to be just fine. That the lessons she learned at Bayhill and that the lessons she learned about herself would serve her well as she joins the larger world and no doubt saves countless animals from the harm we humans do. There's only one thing left to do, my Lexilis, my love. Shut up and dance with me.
Lexi, every year we give out just a couple of awards to seniors. One senior, we grant the award of Most Improved Student. That award demonstrates that a student has made the most improvement over their 4 years of high school at Bayhill. Lexi, you were chosen to receive the Most Improved Student Award. Congratulations.
When I think of you, Marianne, these are the words that come to my mind. Best teacher's assistant ever. Hardworking student, diligent and meticulous scientist, avid world traveler, traveled to Japan alone last summer to learn Japanese. Natural affinity for math and science, student council treasurer who could actually do the math in her head. Favorite color, black. Wears black skirts with knee-high socks and black tennis shoes. Rocks long t-shirts of her favorite bands to school. An avid concert goer during her free time, and enjoyed walks with Miss Kim when she took her PE class.
Healthy snacker with occasional Pringles on the side. Hard grader who always graded students' work with honesty and high expectation. Trustworthy. Earned the highest grade in her biology and chemistry classes. My one student who actually laughed and appreciated my corny jokes and memes that were always printed on the front page of every test.
Also, my one science student who hacked my system of finding the subtle clues to questions in a test from those corny science jokes. Loves to read and reads for fun. Future interior designer who will be attending Southern Oregon University. However, Marianne, the one thing that stands out in my mind when I think of you is the growth that I have observed in you as a leader. As Ms. Brown often stated, you don't have to be the loudest in the room to lead, but that you can quietly lead. Whether it is by example in quietly helping set up for one of our dances, or by quietly sitting there at the end of the table during our Friday food sales and being our cashier. Thank you for all that you have quietly done. Not just serving on student council these past 2 years as the treasurer, but also as my science TA. I will miss you more than you will know, TA Marianne. May you continue your quiet leadership into the future, where you will quietly transform people's living spaces with calming colors, bold statement furniture pieces, and a tranquil spirit of feng shui. But if that doesn't pan out, you can always be that rock star scientist that I have come to love, adore, and trust.
As Tamar Charney, an editorial lead at National Public Radio, said, until I announced I was leaving, I still didn't see that. Rather than floundering, I was using the leadership tools of an introvert. Marianne, I hope that you have come to understand that you have been a leader, just as Tamar Charney's words reflected. Yes, a reluctant leader, an introverted leader, and an unconventional one, but still a leader nonetheless. Staff, faculty, family, and friends, it is an honor for me to present to you one of Bayhill's student leaders and Rockstar Science graduate for the class of 2020, T.A. Marion Ostrich.
The first day Alex walked into the classroom, she sat down and looked directly at me with eyes that said two things. One, I am scared out of my wits right now. And two, so are you for real or what? Your hunger for authenticity is immediate, and I thought, oh, there's no hiding from this one. The last 4 years have proved to be as much a learning experience for me as I hope and believe it has been for you. Your gifted songwriting reveals so much more about you than mere musical talent. You are an incredibly sensitive, empathic soul with piercing, poignant insight into what makes other people tick. You have a genuine, caring, kind heart. You have a deep desire to connect and communicate the inner experience to the outside world. You have original ideas and visions and perspectives that are worth all the time and effort and deserve to be manifested in reality. You are the authentic, real deal. You've emerged as a leader people can admire and trust and look up to. You have a strong moral compass. You are a fantastic, beautiful, magical person. When I was in graduate school, I had a very important conversation with my teacher, my mentor. He explained to me how he navigated the landscape of working with a student who he knew in his heart would one day become a dear friend, and the importance of keeping those things distinct. That conversation helped me understand how he was relating to me at the time. He is now one of my most trusted friends. I've now had the experience of that same dynamic from the other side, and I hope I have done a good job passing that on. I can think of no better testament to the impact you've had on me than to say I am thrilled and honored to begin calling you my friend for the rest of my life. I'm so proud of you, so excited for you, and so deeply fortunate to have met you and worked with you. It truly is lifelong. Thank you so much for everything. You deserve all the success you aim at. Just remember, subdivide and chord awareness, and you'll be fine. All that's left to say is that I love you, my friend. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
And at this point, George, I'd like you to give her the Leadership Award. Alex, if you would please open the Leadership Award. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to present Alexandra Wick with the Leadership Award for the class of 2020. Alex has been an amazing leader at Bayhill High School. She's been our student body president this year. She has led many pep rallies and dances and Fun Friday events. She is enthusiastic and creative in how she approaches her leadership skills. But most amazing for us as faculty is that she made us a video for Teacher Appreciation Day with all the students talking about us and music, and it was just amazing, Alex, and I want to thank you so much. It made all of us feel so good. You are an amazing young woman. You're going to be an incredible leader as you move forth in your life. I am very proud of you. Congratulations, Alex.
If there was ever a student who I am truly going to miss, it's Owen. Owen is the one that I could always count on to answer my questions. If I wasn't calling on someone directly, I could still count on an answer from Owen. So Owen definitely excelled in class participation. I was fortunate to have Owen for Spanish 1, Spanish 2, and for Algebra 2, and pre-calculus. And I can say that for me, he has always been an excellent student. He picked up well on the Spanish language and has always been a great math student. Owen has consistently been a hard worker and very responsible throughout his high school years. And Owen, I'm sure that if you continue that hard work ethic, you will go far. There is no limit to what you can do. So dream big, I present to you Owen Royal.
Thank you.
I have to admit that I was really surprised and flattered that Quinn asked me to speak for him at graduation. He's not been my student before this year, and even though Bayhill's a really small school and everybody knows everybody, Quinn and I only had a passing acquaintance before now. But here's what I've discovered in this crazy, mixed up, unique school year. Quinn is a really cool dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't get uptight about too many things. I love that I can tease him without him taking what I have to say personally. From a teacher's perspective, he's open to those rare and wonderful teachable moments that we as educators cherish.
One of the best things about being a teacher is when you learn from your students. This year, Quinn taught me about fast fashion. Before Quinn began working on a senior research project, I'd never even heard that term before. I love pretty clothes and bright colors, but I never thought about the environmental impact of what I was wearing. Quinn, as they say, schooled me. Quinn is a fashion icon. That's obvious just by looking at him. But another thing I learned about Quinn is that he puts his money where his mouth is. Since he believes that fast fashion is inherently wrong, most of his clothes are recycled.
He has an entire side business dedicated to creating and reselling outfits that come from thrift stores. How cool is that? And Quinn, I'm so sorry that this COVID is thwarting your ability to do what you love. Quinn, I wish I was giving this speech in front of a large audience of people who don't know how amazing you are. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. But as we celebrate your graduation from high school, I know that, please know this, I see you. I admire you. You are one cool cat. Thank you for being you. Ladies and gentlemen, Quinn Madsen.
Tori, I am so incredibly proud of you, seeing how much you have matured through these 4 years. I've seen you maneuver your way through awkward insecurities, tough social dynamics, and difficult relationships. From our chill freshman lunches to our current, more difficult conversations about the future, especially given the crazy time that we're in right now. You've gone from a shy yet sassy freshman to a fully capable young woman with so much to offer the world. In keeping with tradition, I wrote you an acrostic poem. T is for tenacious. You've always known your worth and fought for your educational needs. Nothing got in the way of you getting the education you wanted. Even though I know it was tough for you to come back to Bayhill, you did because you valued learning over everything else. O, let's be honest, is for OCD. If we had all taken a page out of your book and washed our hands a lot more, then maybe we might not be in this crazy corona situation in the first place. R is for relativity, which was the topic for your junior physics project. I was amazed to see your passion for theoretical physics ideas, and the fact that you're genuinely interested in understanding how space and time converge is truly impressive. I is for integrity, because you've always known your worth and followed your dreams. The fact that you love science and want to go to space to study the universe and what it means to be here and to be human. It is an inspiration to see you following your ambitions and being true to your interests. Tori, with each of these descriptions, it just goes to show how complex of a person you really are. To be honest, I wasn't sure how to give a speech full of hope, giving everything that's been going on, because I know how excited you were to go to Chico State to experience all that college has to offer. And I'm sure you're feeling disappointed with everything, not being able to go right away. But then I remembered the laws of physics. Although there is a pandemic, protests, riot, and possibly murder hornets happening right now, there are a lot of terrible things going on in our world right now, but physics tells us that it won't be that way forever. The law of conservation tells us that this too will change, and the universe will transform this energy into something more hopeful. The laws of the universe tells us things need to be balanced, so not only do I have hope for your future, but I have the backing of science. So to give you some advice in your own words, which you said in a statement about your recommendation letter, You've manifested a lot in your life, good and bad, and it all continues to lead you to a path of awakening. Anytime you begin to lose track, or when your life throws you a big obstacle in your way, it is to reshape you. Remember, your idea of better is to be patient, intuitive, and accepting. Little did you know that those words can be more true at this time. I wish you all the best, and I know that you will continue to follow your passions. And I can't wait to one day hopefully see you on the news as exploring the cosmos and discovering more of what it means to be here and to be human. I love you so much, Tori. Congratulations.
I have had the special privilege of being Bo's teacher this year for not one class, but two. Bo is the kind of student that likes to have fun and likes to make sure that his peers are having fun too. The only problem is, as I'm sure you will admit, Bo, that there have been times when your fun would interfere with your academics. I'm sure that Bo would love for me to elaborate on some of those special moments, but I will just say this. Bo, when your background screen on Zoom said reconnecting, I knew that it was just another one of your creative backgrounds. Clever though, I must admit. I have always enjoyed working with Bo. There were times when a missed assignment would put Bo behind, but he never gave up. Bo knew where to get help. We have a miracle worker among our staff, Miss Ferreira, who has done an amazing job of keeping Bo on his toes. With a little bit of extra effort and guidance, Bo managed to pull his grades up. When we were back in the building, Bo would come in occasionally during his lunch break for help, unless, of course, the call to play basketball was stronger. Deep down, though, Bo really has cared about his grades, but he just loves to have fun. And Bo is a very intelligent young man. Bo, when you put your mind to it, you can do amazing things. I know, because I have seen it on some occasions in class. One of Bo's special gifts is that he loves to make other people laugh and be happy, which in and of itself is not a bad thing. But Bo, I just want to remind you that there is a time and a place for everything. So channel your energy in the right direction at the right time, and you will go far. Now is your time, Bo. The world awaits your energy and enthusiasm. Go out and do something great.
Dear so. Joseph Campbell famously told us to follow your bliss. But often this line is woefully misunderstood. Following your bliss does not mean simply doing the things that make you happy. Following your bliss does not mean that you'll be instantly successful and feel blissful. In fact, following your bliss is really hard. Bummer. Sorry. But your bliss is your guide that simultaneously makes you who you are and directs you to who you can be. In order to follow your bliss, you have to be willing to trust that little voice inside, that little bit of intuition that whispers and nudges you in ways that fulfill you and tickle your heart.
Zohar, you have such a clear voice, although I'm sure it's hard for you to hear it at times. I have seen it all through your Bayhill life, whether in your writing, your relationships, your passions, and all the ways you express yourself. Your voice is stirred by art, beauty, justice, truth, ideas, and love. It is such a strong little voice. Trust in yourself, your efforts, your commitment, your ability, and your inner knowing. Even though it can be hard, even though it can be scary, trust that your bliss is where you are meant to go, where you are destined to be. I am so proud of you, and I know you're going to do so many great things. And finally, I'm going to leave you with a poem called When I Rise Up by Georgia Douglas Johnson, a poet from the Harlem Renaissance. When I rise up above the earth and look down on the things that fetter me, I beat my wings upon the air, or tranquil lie. Surge after surge of potent strength like incense, comes to me when I rise above the earth and look down on the things that fetter me.
Zohar Naaman has achieved the highest award given to a senior at Bayhill High School. With a 4.2 GPA, Zohar is the valedictorian of the Bayhill High School class of 2020.
Well, I have to admit being a little afraid of Garrison when he first showed up. Not because you're aggressive and confrontational, but because of how deeply sensitive and internally aware that you are. I had a sense that if I came to you too fast, too soon, or said even the right thing, but at the wrong time, you would shrink away and disappear. And since I immediately liked you on the first day, I did not want you to disappear. I don't know if that resonates with you and your experience, but that's what I sensed. I strove for the balance of pushing you a little toward the edge of your comfort zone, but also leaving you to your own devices, because there was and still is something about you that simply states, yeah, I know what I want, thanks. I remember Alex asking me, why don't you get on Garrison's case as much as the rest of us when he's noodling around on guitar while you're trying to talk? I didn't give her a straight answer right away, but one day she and I were talking about passion and ambition and drive to improve yourself. And in a moment of pause, I saw something flash in her eyes that told me she just realized something. So I asked her, do you know why I don't get on Garrison's case as much for noodling when I'm talking? She answered correctly, because he's just trying to practice and get better. I said,
and that's the truth. So maybe without realizing, you were providing me with examples and lessons for the others just by being in the room and being authentic to who you are. I wanted you to step out of yourself, to trust yourself, to know that in this room, at this time, in this band, you are welcome and safe to express who you are and openly develop who you want to become. I'll never forget the first days you began to crack a smile and laugh more often and speak up and out in class more and more as your confidence in you and your developing knowledge grew.
in only a couple short years, I watched you expand exponentially as a musician and step into your own voice, and it has been such an enriching experience for me to see you emerge out of what seemed at first to me like a deeply protected, ultra-sensitive place on the brink of isolation. Every band develops its own vocabulary, a lexicon unique to the relationships in that particular group. It's one of the things about being in bands that I love the most. All the inside jokes we are able to throw out at each other for a laugh, especially when the band is in mixed company and enjoying each other in their secret code no one else understands. Oftentimes, this shared vocabulary is a lifeline between a bunch of awkward, sensitive misfits who sometimes just need to know that someone else can hear us. Someone gets it.
It's hard to really describe the kind of bond musicians find together when the chemistry is right. I don't know anything to compare it to. I am so lucky and grateful for being able to share this experience with you. One of my favorite inside jokes that emerged in this band was that Garrison and I are actually the same person playing a grand existential joke on everyone else. And as with all jokes that stick with you and keep coming around, there's more than a grain of truth to it. Of course, we aren't literally the same person, but I recognize something in you that resonates very deeply with me. Like you, I remember getting to school early and ducking into a vacant classroom before first period to practice. Like you, I would skip the social scene at lunchtime and do the exact same thing. Just a few more moments with that deeply valuable one-on-one time, just myself and the instrument. It didn't matter if no one else understood. I thought, yeah, I know what I want, thanks.
I wish I had time to go over and explain all the amazing jokes and language we developed together, but I'll have to settle for saying that I feel so fortunate to have met and worked with you these short couple years. You are a beautifully sensitive, amazing creative spirit. There is still so much more to you to discover, not just for me, but for yourself and anyone who you let into your world. You are a truly deep and deep-feeling soul. I'm so proud of and excited for you to step even further into your independence now, and I'm truly looking forward to continuing to watch you develop and grow. As I said with Alex, I don't feel I'm saying goodbye to a student, I'm saying hello to a friend. Someone I want to remain in touch with the rest of my life. A life that is richer for having you in it. So thank you so much. You deserve all the best of anything you need. You are so worthy of attention, energy, love, joy, effort, and success. Congratulations, my friend. Don't be a stranger.
Let's see, where to begin. Quincy, you have been one of the most unique, talented, expressive, honest, sensitive, complicated at times, fun, caring, and often misunderstood students I have ever come across in all my years in education. And may I say, that has been many. I can only do justice to Quincy by presenting him with truth, honesty, and being real, because I know that's how he would want it. I started out as his case manager from his freshman to junior year, but it became much more than that. We became confidants, providing a sometimes daily outlet to discuss life as he knew it and the best way to approach navigating it, with all its joys and pitfalls. You see, Quincy has a unique way of experiencing life from the inside out. He feels every part and piece of it, and through his actions and emotions, lets you know the effect it is having on him. That endeared me most to him. Quincy, as a younger student, was a fun-loving guy, going way out of his way to make people laugh and have fun. One of the things I remember most about him was that he spent a lot of time on the ground. He was one of those expressive comedians whose physical comedy often left him sprawled on the ground with that big grin on his face, letting us know that he wasn't hurt. He was always wearing that funny hat, the crazy mask, the outrageous outfits, and different hair colors, always in an attempt to make people smile or to bring happiness to himself or to those around him. I often had to tell him to calm it down, as I didn't want him to get hurt in his attempts to entertain others. I would be remiss if I didn't mention how immensely talented Quincy is. His drawings from anime, recreations, cartoon slides, and portraits are phenomenal. One day, during one of our talks, he noticed a statue of a Buddha I have in my office. I asked him if he could recreate a picture of it. Well, he made a much more enhanced version of what I asked for. I was totally blown away. Many of us have and continue to encourage him to sell his work, as it is just that good. He participated in our talent shows with dancing, singing, and reciting poetry. He also is a member of the Student Council as a class representative. He is currently working with the Beats, Rhyme, and Life program, writing, performing, and recording his music, and has been involved with the Berkeley Rep Youth program the past several years. Quincy's a natural-born artist, and I, for one, can't wait to see the various ways in which he will express his inner self through that art. I also have to remind Quincy to not get in the way of himself. He is a thoughtful person, but is also his own greatest critic. Moving forward, I want you to know, Quincy, that you are an amazing person, inside and out. Pat yourself on the back for that every once in a while, and learn to forgive yourself for being human and imperfect like the rest of us. Remember, life can be a struggle at times, but it's through that struggle that clarity can happen and the light to your life path can shine brightly. You will make mistakes, but let them be learning opportunities instead of condemnations. You do that and you'll be just fine. I want to take a moment and mention how much of a pleasure it has been to get to know and work alongside Teresa, Quincy's mom. Her dedication to ensuring a quality educational experience for her son is commendable. And thank you for partnering with us and allowing us to work with Quincy. Quincy Rivers, we love you. You will always be a part of the Bayhill family. Onward and upward, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you for graduation, Quincy Jordan Rivers.
As principal of Bayhill High School, I certify that these seniors have met all of the requirements set forth by the state of California. By the power vested in me by the state of California, I hereby declare the class of 2020 to be graduates of Bayhill High School. You did it. Move those tassels.
future story.